Go ahead and start with questions.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Go ahead and start with questions today, guys.
You mentioned, and now we've heard the players say it a couple times about the opportunity you guys have that week. Is that something that you've tried to get them to understand?
Yeah, I think that it's always going to be that way, and we only get so many opportunities, and how we're going to maximize them, and for us to do that, it's taking advantage of our time out here on the field and taking advantage of the time we have in meetings and to prepare our body and our mind for the game.
It sounded like Coach Baldwin was really happy with the offense yesterday. Did you see that? And also tell us about the defense, how they've responded.
Yeah, I think both sides of the ball have done a great job this week. I mean, the guys, we haven't been perfect in practice, but over the course of the year, they really have come out and practiced really well. I mean, Tuesdays and Wednesdays are intense days for us in terms of practice, and they do a really good job of that tomorrow. It's a mental sweat day, we call it, and so they've done that week in and week out, and as long as we continue to do that, we'll continue to get better as a team.
What area do you think you improved on today and yesterday? Any specific thing that comes out?
Well, I don't know if there's any one thing. It's kind of player by player and unit by unit. Everybody's got something, and this week we'll have another great challenge because you're playing a very talented team, and they do things in every phase of the game that create challenges for you. So, there's some of it is scheme oriented and making sure we got the right things in the game plan, and then some of it is technique oriented. And so we worked on all that today, and I thought that we had a good day of practice.
It seems like in watching Washington's offense, there's just a volume of things they do. Am I reading that right? That it is one of the larger, I don't know if to say playbook, but it is one of the more volume.
Yeah, they different. Yeah, it's a lot of different personnel groupings and formations out of those personnel groupings. The run schemes. You see similar run schemes from week to week, but the picture changes. So how, like some teams, when they'll line up and run, one back power, they run it out of one or two different looks, and Washington will do it out of more than that. Right. And so they do a really good job of packaging things, and and if you see something the first time, there's a reason you saw it, because there's a complement to it that you're probably going to see later on, and so they do a really good job of that stuff. Yeah.
So they set stuff up over the course of a game, just as teams will set things up over the course of a season.
Yeah, I think and a lot of teams do that. They do a really good job of that. I think everything's got a complement. Mm-hmm.
One of their reporters who covers them said that their run game sort of has to kind of get going over the course of the season, that you won't see it a lot early, and then it really kind of comes on about now. What have you seen?
I don't know if I think the run game showed up from the get-go. From the games we watched, they've had really productive runs, and they got really good players doing it. So, yeah, I don't know
if it gets better, maybe. As
well, I imagine most teams, you're going to see. You want to see progress. I know we're the same. We want to see progress every week, that we're getting better at certain things. So that's how we approach it, and I'm sure they do the same.
Considering the problems you guys had running the ball against Oregon, are you going to do any changes, scheme changes, personnel changes, anything?
Each week we'll go in with the certain personnel groupings that we feel like can best help us in that game. It comes down to a matter of execution. It'll carry, in the same. Everybody has kind of the same type of runs. You have zone runs, you have gap runs, and so we'll have the full menu of runs. It's how we want to run them that week, and against where are our best matchups in the run games, where can we get our blocks, what scheme, what is the defense doing. So it kind of depends week to week, and we'll always go into the game with what we feel is the best chance for us to have productive runs.
Did you learn something from?
I think you learn from every game. Yeah, you learn from every game. So no matter whether you have a lot of success or you don't have the success you want, you're going to learn from that.
What makes Browning as effective as he has been?
I think he's really efficient. He doesn't. He seems to always know where to go with the ball. He's a very accurate passer. Doesn't make. Or he makes good decisions. It looks like, So I just think he operates really well. And, he's a good football player. And got the run game and the O-line and the receivers, and they just kind of everybody complements each other really well, and he does a great job of being the captain, so to speak, of the offense. So.
They got a guy return punts in Pettis. What do you guys want to do in the punt coverage game to keep him stymied?
Yeah, he's a really talented player, and they do a really good job up front in their punt return game of keeping people at the line of scrimmage, the hold up. So, you know, you really want to minimize the amount of time between when he can have his hands on the ball and your cover guys are getting there. And there's different ways of doing that. And, you know, from the schemes you're using in the punt game to how you're, you know, where you're punting it, all those different type of things. So you just, what you don't want to do is line drive him a punt, you know, and get held up at the line of scrimmage. That's like the worst case scenario. So we got to do some things schematically to help our guys, and then we got to do a great job getting off and covering and getting down there and making it, you know, team tackle.
I'm trying to think of the timeline. Were you at Washington when Devontae was coming out of high school?
I was.
There?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you guys look at?
Yeah, he was a running back.
Yeah, okay.
He wanted to play running back.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. And Devontae was really talented running back and wanted to be a running back. And yeah, I remember him well. Yeah. He was a quiet guy then too. Yeah, he's going to see the same. But, really good player. Yeah.
You guys have brought something out of him on the field. He seems to like the play calling and getting guys aligned and all that stuff. That he's, at least on the field, is talking way more than we've seen in the past.
He's a real smart guy, and he doesn't say a lot. You know, maybe around us anyway. You know, he's pretty quiet, but he's very, very smart. And we ask him to make certain calls and front calls and checks and things like that. He does a really good job of that, and I think he understands where he fits, you know, within everything, and that allows him to make some more plays. So he's done a great job, and I still think he's going to get better and better. I mean, he just kind of gets better every week, and so that's for a veteran guy like that, that's really encouraging. It's neat to see.
Working on a piece on Torrey, and Coach Tui said that at Washington, you know, he really instilled this sort of scrappiness, and that's what he's done here. Is that it's all about being tough and scrappy. Well, how have you seen him kind of do that, and what did you see in him back up there?
His personality and getting to know him back in our time there. It was my first time being around Coach Becton, and he's just got he's got a great way about him. You know what he believes in, what I believe in. We're of the same philosophy there, and just how he communicates. He's got a great presence, and he gets his point across in a way that I think the guys appreciate, and they definitely hear him. And so he's just really a critical piece to our program.
If you remember, was he one of the first guys you rang up when you got this job? Like, hey, we need you here.
Yeah, Torrey came. I don't remember the exact number of days, but it was fast. Yeah, he was here. I could probably figure it out for you, but it was quick. Yeah, and I had always thought a lot of Torrey, and still do. And so when this opportunity came up, he was the first person in terms of strength and conditioning that we called.
Does that kind of show how important it is to get that culture in immediately?
Yeah,
that's your first guy.
I don't know if people always recognize the importance of that. You know, they don't get talked about as much, and I'm glad you're doing a story on him because it's such a big part of the program, and you know, he sees the guys more than any coach in our program because of the off season and the things that they're allowed to do and the amount of hours they can spend with them. So such a big part of it, and you know, what he stands for and what we stand for. It's just that they hear that day in and day out and kind of build that foundation, and it's an ongoing process. You know, it's an ongoing process, and he does an unbelievable job.
Great. Thank you.